An army is simply defined as the military force of any country, designated and equipped to fight on land. But practically, it's a lot more than that. The Nigerian Army has a checkered history that dates back to 1863, when the British colonialists held sway and founded what was then called Glover Hausas. The colonialists were still in power when the Nigerian Army became what it is today in 1956. From its humble beginnings, the Nigerian Army has metamorphosed into a formidable force, operationally and geographically divided into 10 divisions, the basic field formation. Over the years, the Army has been involved in operations throughout the country, most especially during the Civil War, and has undertaken major operations abroad. The increasingly complicated global security situation has forced virtually all countries to divert considerable amounts of its annual budget to defense spending, and the astronomically complex nature of weaponry has made maintaining the army a very expensive venture, which no country can run away from. Nigeria has had its undeniable share of security challenges, with the situation taking a dramatic turn with the advent of terrorists, insurgents and bandits taking the country by storm, and required the intervention of the Nigerian military, with the army at the forefront. Successful military operations come with personnel and equipment casualties, which need instant replacement to achieve total victory. Unfortunately, this comes with huge foreign exchange requirements amidst tight national budgets. The perennial shortage of critical equipment in the field could not be allowed to prevail, and the army leadership was compelled to look inwards and produce some of its military hardware needs. Specifically, the Nigerian Army was moved to rejig its engineering architecture in order to innovate, conduct research and development, and produce prototypes of platforms required for its operations. In this regard, the former Nigerian Army Central Workshop was upgraded and redesignated Command Engineering Depot (CED) in June 2020 and mandated to work towards actualizing the long-desired indigenous military-industrial complex. Assuming office as Chief of Army Staff in June 2023, Lieutenant General TAOREED Lagbaja has never hidden his desire to build a well-rounded and formidable army that can withstand 21st century challenges.
Upon my assumption of office as the Chief of Army Staff on the 23rd of June 2023, I crafted my command philosophy, and that is to transform the Nigerian Army into a well-trained, equipped, and highly motivated force towards achieving our constitutional responsibilities within the joint environment. This command philosophy is designed to rest on three pillars of leadership, operational effectiveness, and sound administration.
He described the Command Engineering Depot as key to his philosophy for the Nigerian Army.
The effective functioning of the Command Engineering Depot, as well as other maintenance and repair outfits in Nigerian Army, is key to the operational effectiveness pillar of my command philosophy. The equipment that we employ in the field, the mechanical, the electrical equipment, they form the fulcrum of our operational activities because the troops require them for protection, for mobility, in order to project force against the adversary. Upon my assumption of office, I did an assessment of our equipment holding across formations and units of the Nigerian Army, especially those ones deployed in the front line. And I discovered that we are low on equipment holding compared to the established table of equipment for formations and units of Nigerian Army. And looking at the state of the economy, it behoves on me to think of ingenious ways to address the shortfall in equipment across our formations and units. And that is the point at which I gave the marching order to the Command Engineering Depot to do whatever it is possible to ensure the maintenance and the serviceability of our equipment. And since then, the Command Engineering Depot has been up and doing several of broken down equipment, unserviceable equipment, especially the ones that have complex mechanical and electrical fittings, have been fixed by the Command Engineering Depot. Even equipment that were completely burnt down were brought back into a serviceable state.
The Command Engineering Depot rose from the cradle of the uncompleted and abandoned Nigerian Army Central Workshop project in June 2020. It was also placed under the office of the Chief of Army Staff and its organogram reviewed so that a Major General commands the formation instead of a Brigadier General. It was also followed by massive infrastructural renewal and posting in of competent officers. At the helm of the CED is Major General Babatunde ALAYA.
Command Engineering Depot has two main tasks. The first is to form the fourth line of equipment support for the entire Nigerian Army. That is, it forms the highest level of equipment support to the Nigerian Army. So any equipment that requires complete rebuilding, refurbishment, and retrofitting beyond the capabilities of other equipment support outfits, such equipment will be backloaded to Command Engineering Depot for either refurbishment, rebuilding, or retrofitting. And secondly, Command Engineering Depot anchors research and development for the Nigerian Army. This means that any individual, civilian, or service personnel conducting research and development on behalf of the Nigerian Army will go through the Chief of Transformation and Innovation, and such R&D product will be brought to Command Engineering Depot for prototyping, test, and trial. It's after this that it will be now recommended to the Nigerian Army whether to go ahead and produce in a large scale or to conduct further research and development on such a product. So we have pretty much two basic tasks for the Nigerian Army.
As previously mentioned by the Chief of Army Staff, Major General ALAYA narrates with pride how the Command Engineering Depot has saved the nation billions of naira through the rebuilding and refurbishment of mine resistance and protection vehicles and armored personal carriers.
The Chief of Army Staff takes the issue of maintenance very seriously. In fact, he always emphasizes on ensuring that all equipment are in optimal serviceability state at all times. And when we talk of maintenance, even if the equipment is completely almost destroyed or burnt, what we look at, we do the comparative analysis in terms of naira and kobo. You look at the cost of procuring new one. If the Nigerian Army and the federal government have to procure a new equipment, let's say for example an equipment that was burnt as a result of adversary action, you look at the cost of procuring the equipment and then the cost of rebuilding the equipment to as good as new. That's the analysis that we do, and the Chief of Army Staff has been very supportive. For example, you've seen Camel MRAP completely burnt, and you saw Legion MRAP completely burnt. If you look at the Camel MRAP, the unit cost of one is about 750 million naira. And if you look at, you do the comparative analysis, with just about 20 million, you can rebuild it to as good as almost new. So it is very good, economically viable to rebuild this equipment. So the Chief of Army Staff is very key on this, is very supportive, and he has rebuilt a number of this equipment since he took over last year, and we have returned them back to their unit. In the past, this equipment will have been set aside and considered as beyond economic repair. They will have been sold as scrap and cut into pieces. But we've been able to bring this equipment back to life and deploy, and they are fully functional. So the Chief of Army Staff is key in equipment maintenance, and this equipment command engineering depot is a primary leader. It plays a primary role in that aspect.
The depot also prides itself in its research and development successes, especially with the Mobile Repair and Recovery Vehicle (MRRV).
Some components that are not available from original equipment manufacturers, some equipment that we procure, and we have damaged components either through improvised explosive devices and so on that we could not get from original equipment manufacturer. We machine them. We produce them by ourselves or in conjunction or partnership with other industries, civil industries in Nigeria. So the Chief of Army Staff has actually been funding research and development through the Chief of Transformation and Innovation.
The Army also gave a scorecard of its equipment recovery efforts, especially in the Northeast, when the Chief of Army Staff visited Maiduguri, Borno State on June the 17th, 2024.
The troops recovered one each of the vehicle Bel Ajaya, Mohawk APC, Phantom MRAP, Proforce MRAP, Camel MRAP, Lowbed and other vehicles with various degrees of damage by insurgent actions which were repaired by the Theater Main Repair Group. Apart from the vehicles that were recovered and captured, there are others that have been affected by improvised explosive devices and landmines during the period across the theater. All these vehicles have been adequately repaired within the capacity of the Theater Main Repair Group. The experience gathered from the repair works has enhanced the on-the-job training of 107 Division Equipment Support personnel. These captured and recovered equipment, which have been refurbished by the theater, and those repaired through headquarters Nigerian Army Mechanical and Electrical Engineering, would be reissued to the sectors to further improve their operational efficiency, as well as the morale of the fighting units.
This is where we provide first to fourth line equipment support for the whole theater. Here we basically carry out repairs that are beyond the capacity of our units in the front. So when equipment or vehicles get damaged, including weapons, because of adversaries' action, those that cannot be handled at the front line are quickly backloaded to the main repair group here in Maiduguri, where repairs are effected, and repairs will include complete overhaul and refurbishment of the equipment. So some of the equipment you have here are A vehicles that got damaged, some of them as a result of adversaries' use of improvised explosive device. You can see they are basically shattered. So when they come to the MRG, they are refitted, refurbished, and brought back to life for re-engagement into our operations. What you have here are vehicles that we have finished with their refurbishment, and they are ready for operational use. The ones here too, repairs are completed and they are ready to be recycled into the operation. This Camel MRAP that was actually captured from the terrorists in Sambisa forest.
The performance of the main repair group in Headquarters 7th Division, Nigerian Army, is the effect of the expertise and the experience that they have been able to draw from the tertiary outfits like the Command Engineering Depot. Learning from the personnel at the Command Engineering Depot, they've learned the techniques of repairing and modification of most of this equipment, and that is what obtains across all the maintenance and repair outfits in the Nigerian Army, in the Northwest operation, either in Daji, even in our peacetime locations at the divisional headquarters and the brigade headquarters.
The depot has conducted research into other fields. Notable among the results is the design and construction of the unmanned aerial vehicle and the automatic dishwasher. These are all products of the Command Engineering Depot's Smart Factory.
On this side, we have a few examples of some projects on ground. So this is the first prototype of the 3D printed drone that we started with, and then from the tests from this, we were able to get ideas of things that we needed to modify, and our commander requested that we build one that could carry an increased payload. And here we have, this is the present iteration. This is actually the fourth design of one so far. After testings and designs, analysis and all of that, this is one that we have come with, which is able to carry up to 700 grams of the required payload.
This is our additive manufacturing bay, where we have different 3D printers. We have 3 FDM machines and an SLS machine, which is a resin machine. It's currently in operation, where we're currently printing a piece for one of our designs. So this just uses liquid polymers and then uses UV lights to cure it. Immediately from the design, we can put it into any of these machines and then get our items out. Depends on the particular requirements of whatever we are designing. For these bigger machines, larger objects, we just connect them to this and then we can print.
Here we have the vertical takeoff and landing tool. It's capable of taking off vertically and landing vertically, so we don't need to runway. In short of runways, we deploy these ones. So we have another.
This is for surveillance.
This is for surveillance and 3 hours to 8 hours endurance, depending on the weather conditions. Here is a twin engine aircraft. So in terms of this hand launch and this one, there are 2 different aircraft. This one is mostly used in high wind conditions, so it can withstand high winds, while this one can't. We have some accessories that we use here. These are the remote controls. We have our FPD, the first person view systems. We have a screen and a goggle. Then this one is a kamikaze drone. We don't have the ammunition now.
That's the suicide.
Yeah, the suicide drone.
This is part of our R&D support to the Army in collaboration with the headquarters, Nigerian Army Corps of Supply and Transport, because they discovered that we waste a lot of time and men washing plates. So that's why this project, with the help of the commander, we conceptualized this project that you can wash more plates just with power supply and everything. That was the first one. With the observations on the first one, we have to improve, and this is the stage we are now. This one can wash more than 50 plates. We have tested it, and from here now, as you can see, we are just making. From here now, we take it to our painting shop for painting.
Also key to the Command Engineering Depot's activities is its capacity to refurbish weapons. More than 2,000 weapons have been fabricated and another 2,000 plus are in the refurbishment pipeline. The bulk of this work and the casting of weapon parts are carried out in the depot's foundry.
These are drilling machines. You can see the drill bits, different diameters that we use. We have some of the drill bits. If we want to drill small holes, some bigger holes, you can see this one. Sometimes we need to come and see this plate. Sometimes when we do our local R&D, we may need to attach the clutch plate to a dish in order to attach the gearbox to the bell housing. So we do our own local fabrication and we drill them. These are the drilling machines that we use.
The ingenious capability of the Command Engineering Depot was demonstrated with a ride through streets and major highways in a formerly burnt down MRAP that was brought back to life by the CED. The future is in no doubt bright for the Nigerian Army's Command Engineering Depot as it continues its drive to make the Nigerian Army relevant in the scheme of engineering solutions and technological innovations. What is also not in doubt is the huge financial savings made as a result of its cost-effective activities, a development that clearly delights the Chief of Army Staff.
What the Command Engineering Depot has been able to do in the past 1 year is that it has gone a long way to save the Nigerian Army the scarce foreign exchange. The cost of an average mine resistance ambush protected vehicle, which we import from abroad, is about $700,000, and that translates to over ₦1 billion. At the current exchange rate of about 1,400 naira to $1. And the costs that the Command Engineering Depot has been repairing this burnt equipment is just about 20 million naira. So comparing 20 million to ₦1 billion, it is great savings for the Nigerian Army. And so to that extent, the Command Engineering Depot has gone a long way to facilitate the implementation of my command philosophy in the field, especially for our frontline units.
They came back for complete refurbishment. The essence is to turn them to as good as brand new at very reasonable cost for the Nigerian Army. Like I said before, this vehicle, a unit is about 500 million naira. And with just about 50 million, you turn one to as good as brand new. So we did some preliminary work. The preliminary work is that we remove all the major components and refurbish them, like the headlight, the radiator. We recondition them so that when we put new engine, they are also almost as good as new. we drop the tank, we work on the legs, on the suspension system and so on, and we turn them to as good as new. So when the engine arrives, it's just to start installing the engine and gearbox. We start installing, and we install all these components, we do the upholstery, we repaint them, change all the tires, and then they are as good as brand new. It's a very reasonable, economically viable for the Army to refurbish them after we have used them in various sets of operations, and after some time there is need to retrofit and refurbish them to almost as good as new. The units, the quantity we have here, they are sufficient to equip a battalion, if not 2 battalions, because we have 20 of Phantom MRAPs and 20 Spartan APC. And by the time we finish, we have 40 viable vehicles that could be used to equip a battalion or 2 for our operation.
A satisfied Chief of Army Staff says the Command Engineering Depot and all associated with its growth and development to date deserve commendation.
The troops of the Nigerian Army electrical and mechanical engineers are doing wonders, bringing back unserviceable equipment and maintaining the ones that are even serviceable, and they deserve the highest of commendation for this.
These positive developments are a fallout of Lieutenant General TAOREED Lagbaja's purposeful and result-oriented leadership, where innovation and progress are key to the Army Chief's strategic direction, and shown by his support for the Command Engineering Depot, which has also shown that Nigeria has what it takes to further enhance its overall maintenance culture with huge cost-saving implications.